I first learned about the law of assumption, and I want to say it was the beginning of July in 2021. It was actually on TikTok. I remember exactly who it was, and she was talking about the whisper method to manifest the SP back, to get an SP back. And I did it. I was doing it every day for about 2 weeks, and then he had messaged me one night, and it was so late. It was at like 11 or 12 at night, and he said, I have the screenshot still. He said, "You have been on my mind a lot here lately, and I don't know why." And I was like, that's crazy. So I definitely, after that, started believing in the law of assumption. Me and that person did end up back together. I moved in with him like by the end of July. I was already living with him. So the beginning of July, I started it. 2 weeks later, he had messaged me. And then the end of the month, I was moved back in pretty much. And I did end up telling him, I was like, I manifested you, right? And he told me, we talked about it, and he was telling me everything, he was thinking. And I told him, I was like, there was times I wanted to message you first about my feelings, but I didn't. And he's like, that's probably for the best because I wasn't ready then. Like, I thought about you all the time, but I just wasn't ready. And, he probably wouldn't have responded to my message the way I wanted him to. So I let him come to me. and he even said, yeah, that was probably for the best. So even though I was the one thinking all these thoughts, he was getting them. He was getting all these thoughts I was thinking. But the urge I had to message him, it was crazy. There was so many times I would get my phone, write a message, and then delete it. And, it was probably for the best. I let him come to me. But, yeah, we aren't together anymore. And I do not want that person anymore. But, it's just wild to me that, yeah, I did that. And it only took 2 weeks. And it was so fun for me. If you don't know what the whisper method is, you really need to look it up. I mean, I can explain it, but I'd have to do that in another video. But, oh my gosh, it was fun for me to do too. I mean, it's just like visualization and affirming. I was pretty much just affirming the whole time. You pretty much just go up to somebody in a ghost-like state, whisper in their ear what you want them to do, and then you kiss them on their forehead, and then as you walk away, I would imagine him pulling his phone out and texting me what I would want him to text me. And I did. I was doing so much stuff at that time, but yeah, no, it actually worked, and I was flabbergasted. And yes, the person I manifested was my baby daddy, so I am very sorry if you see this. But of course, I have to use this as a example because it was the first time I ever consciously manifested something, and it was it was a huge moment for me. And I only kept a screenshot of it because, that's my proof of hey, I did this. Because in my head, I was always constantly thinking, oh, he's always thinking about me. Yeah, we're going to be together. It wasn't even the whisper method that manifested it. But, like I said, it's visualizing and affirming pretty much together in one when you do the whisper method. So those dominant thoughts are what manifested it, what made it real, come into my reality. So, but if you are a beginner, I do suggest, especially if you want to manifest the SP, the whisper method is great. Find a good video that explains it because I explained it somewhat, but not the best. So I would definitely look it up more because somebody else can explain it so much better than I can. I have not really used it. That was the first and only time I really ever used the whisper method. That was also the first and only time I ever manifested an SP. I don't really care about an SP. He's happily married. I'm single. We get along great. We co-parent for our child. But, at that time, she was 2. He was single. I was single. So, I did it. But, it was just a really good feeling to know that I did that. And, yeah, no, that's it. But I know, when you're a beginner, just try it. Don't give up. It's really awesome at the end when you do manifest it. It's just a really great feeling, and then you really want to test it out even more. Test out the law of assumption and the power you have to get what you want. So, yeah, I really hope he doesn't see this, though. I don't think he watches my TikToks. But, yeah, happy manifesting.